Parker Preston here, and welcome to Random Destination. I'm just sitting here with Connie Wilson this morning, and we were going through our post-production notes from episode 1 on packing light. And the first thing we decided was we probably should do this before we put the video up on YouTube, because there were a lot of things that we could have done better. One of which was I may have left a misconception about packing light, and that was the fact that we're shipping a big suitcase all the way from our house to the cruise ship and back again, so we don't have to mess with it. So today, in order to fix that problem, I'm going to go ahead and go over that in a little more detail, because I think that's a key part of traveling light, particularly if you're like me and you can't travel light. So stay tuned for that. But first of all, I have to talk about Connie Wilson. There has just been a tremendous amount of feedback, positive feedback and questions about Connie Wilson. And yes, Connie is now my full-time employee, at least for 30 months until he's off probation. But hey, don't take that the wrong way. Connie's a great kid. He's just made he's young, and he's made some lesser good decisions. You know, there was the auto theft thing, but really, I don't understand it. I don't understand what made him think he had implied consent to take the neighbor's car at 3 o'clock in the morning. But you know, when you're a kid, you don't think about things like that. And so he had to work that out. And then there was the thing about the false ID. If he'd just come to me and said, I need a false ID because I'm not 21 yet, I would have said, well, you know, I can't tell you to do that or not to do that. But I can tell you, if you're going to do it, doing it through Photoshop on an inkjet printer and then not even bothering to cut it out and put it in laminate, just handing them the sheet of copy paper, is probably not going to work most of the time. And it turns out it didn't work most of the time. It worked a few times, and I don't understand that. But anyway, so he had to deal with the fake ID thing. And then lastly, there was this misunderstanding with his girlfriend. I don't want to get into the details of that because, you know, I love Connie like he was my grandson. But apparently, once everybody sat down in the same room, the judge and the prosecuting attorney and the defense attorneys and stuff, and really looked at the wording of the law, he was fine. You know, it was just a misunderstanding. So those charges all went away, and I really think the proposal he made and giving her the $29 cubic zirconium ring from Walmart probably helped a lot in his case. So Connie's here. He's a hard-working kid. He'll be with me all through season 1, maybe season 2, if he gets in any more trouble. As long as he's on probation, I'll take him, because I'm paying 3 cents an hour for him to work, and I expect to get my money's worth out of that. So that aside, that's the deal with Connie, and let's move on to the new episode. All right, had a little unexpected delay just as I was ready to call this segment a wrap and move on to the packing part. Connie's parole officer showed up, one of those surprise visits, and we had to sit here and talk about how he was doing, and I told him about him and his new job and how pleased I was. And I told his parole agent, I said, Lewis, come over here and stand by the edge of the railing with me. And, you know, we live out in the country. Take a deep breath of this country air. Just suck it in, hold it, and, you know, how can you get into trouble in an environment like this? So he did. We walked over there, and you know, it's great living in the country. I've lived here a long time. But then he turned his head and looked at me and said, when was the last time you pumped out your septic tank? And I thought about that, and you know, the general rule is if you can't remember when you did it, you probably need to do it. So I've just added on to this season's videos. I'm going to do a live, well, I won't do it live. I want to do a segment on pumping out your septic tank, because I know a lot of you are interested in that, and you just don't see a lot of videos on it. So when I get done with this Viking cruise and this trip to Europe and stuff, I'm going to come back and I'll negotiate with them. Hopefully I can do it on camera and maybe even interview the guy, because he's a nice guy. He's been coming out here for years. And we'll put together a little video on country living and pumping out your septic tank. where else can you get your chance to stick your head right inside a septic tank after it's been pumped out? I know it'll be good. And I will try to get it out sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas, because if you think about it, you've got the family over there. What a perfect time to sit down and talk about how to properly use a septic tank. So put that on your calendar. When we get back from Europe and I get all the videos done, I want you to know I'm moving into that. I have it in my official Random Destinations logbook, and it'll be a season winner. All right, let's go ahead and get the camera and go down to the studio and talk about shipping your luggage. All right, as we've talked before, it's a long ways down to the studio from here. I've been thinking about having a rapid transit system put in or something to get back and forth from the break area to the studio. It's hard on you, particularly when you're elderly. But you'll notice that there's been some changes down there. We now have lights, complement of Target, the best you can buy in the back to school dormitory section. And also we have a new ceiling roof put on. There were a lot of comments I got about the red roof, and people were concerned that either I was making subliminal messages that I was Republican or I was having a stroke. They couldn't tell. Well, it was neither one of those. It was just the red fabric. So I have spared no expense and spent $4 on a twin sheet from Walmart to make it white. So we'll see if this makes a difference. But I think it looks pretty snazzy, but then we all know by now I don't have a lot of taste. So let me put this in the gimbal and we'll get on with filming. Last episode I talked about how my wife and I were going to try to not check any baggage on this trip to Europe. Again, we're going for a total of 2 weeks. The actual cruise is 8 days, and we're spending another 4 or 5 days in Switzerland and Amsterdam. So a couple days at the airport, so 2 weeks. And I went through my suitcase, and this is what I'm going to play. And unfortunately, I think I may have left the impression that I could put everything in here and go for 2 weeks. And no, it takes more stuff than this for me to go to Walmart. So, but this is going to be the carry-on, and this is the one that I had mentioned my wife bought. She wanted one on rollers, and she got this from eBags also. The nice thing about this, other than the rollers, is it's only 4 pounds. This one's a little more heavy than that, but it's what she wanted. So basically this is what we're taking on the airplane. Now I did point out that I do have a little day pack inside here that the electronics and medicine and stuff like that's going to come out until I get through customs and security. Then everything else goes back in. With everything totaled up, I think I came in at around 17 pounds, but that 17 pounds included stuff that I'm just going to be carrying like a bag anyway, so I'm not too concerned about it. Now, here's what I only mentioned briefly in passing, was this suitcase. When we went to Alaska, both my wife and I each carried a suitcase like this, plus one about this tall, plus something like this, and that was too much. So on this one, what we decided to do was, first of all, we would split the weight. So this is going to go as a standard bag. It's 60, I think the limit's 62 linear inches around it. And this one comes in at 61, so it's good as a standard bag. And the weight limit's going to be 50 pounds on it. So unfortunately, this weighs 10 pounds empty. So that gives us 40 pounds to work with, or 20 pounds each, and that's what we're going at. My stuff has already come in, and I put it in there, and it's totaled out at about 18 pounds. And this is going to be pretty much clothing. But here's the thing, we decided this time to go with a shipping company, and we're going with Luggage Forward. So far I've been real pleased with them. They're not paying me a penny. Matter of fact, nobody's paying me a penny for this. If you know how I can get them to pay me, let me know, because that would help. But I'll show you. We just got this yesterday. This is the shipping papers that are going to go on it. They're going to send FedEx to the house, pick it up, ship it all the way out there, take it through customs, and deliver it at our stateroom on the Viking Hill in Basel, Switzerland. So let's open this up and see what's in there. It's pretty exciting. There's 2 envelopes. One says 1 and one says 2. The first one is for the first leg, which is from our house out to the ship, and I'm guessing number 2 is probably from the ship back to our house again. Just a wild guess. I didn't open it because it had big things. Open this immediately. Didn't say anything about the other one. I'm guessing later I have to open that. But let's take a look and we'll see what's in it. You have to do an inventory of what's going to be in your bag before they'll ship it and send it through customs. And this is a summary of what you can't put in this bag. And because my memory is not real good, let me just read it to you. You can't pack pressurized containers, medication, perfume, electronics, or other restricted items. That last one is kind of vague, but you get the idea. You can't put a gun in here and ship it to your ship in Switzerland. And then it says take any other stickers or barcodes or anything else off it. Yeah, no problem there. Attach the tag to it. And here's the tag. And it's a nice little heavy vinyl one that is going to slip through the handle on this and hang down here. You can see that. And inside this has all of the customs forms and whatever it's going to take to get this bag from our house out to the ship. So, you know, for me, that's pretty darn easy. I can do this. Now, I have 2 handles to choose from, and I'm agonizing over which one to put this on because it's not very clear. It shows you putting it on this one, but it would seem to me if you had a wheeled suitcase, you'd want it going this way because most people will pull that. So I'll have to talk to the professionals at FedEx when they arrive to see where they want me to put this tag. And then this is another copy that you put inside saying that, yes, you haven't put any of these disallowed items on there. So that's what's involved with it. They're coming on the 25th. We're leaving on the 1st or 2nd. And we get to the cruise ship on the 8th. So basically they have 2 weeks to get this to the ship. And I'm guessing that because they do this for a living, they probably got it down. Now let's talk about the cost. The cost, well, if you're familiar with Viking cruises, you know you don't go on Viking cruises to save money. They're pricey. They're sort of, they're in the luxury market. Mainly they cater to older people like myself and my wife. I've heard it described a lot as a 5-star resort. I'll find out. You know, I'm obviously convinced. The one thing about Viking, you have to make your reservation about a year in advance. So you got a lot of time and effort and a lot of money into it. So when you looked at what we took when we went to Alaska a year or so ago, I just simply didn't want to mess with this again. So there's a certain amount of money that it's worth not to mess with this thing. And what they charged was roughly $275 each way. Well, $275 and I don't have to mess with this? Yeah, I'm in on that. And like I may have mentioned earlier, they give you $1,000 insurance in addition to whatever trip insurance you have or homeowners or whatever covers your loss of possessions. They have another one that basically says, and I hope I'm right, I haven't looked at it in a while, but basically it says if your suitcase isn't there and they can't get it there, they'll pay you $1,000 and you can replace it. Well, I can tell you, we don't have $1,000 worth of clothing inside there. So that's what the deal is. We are going carry-on only, so we don't have to go check any bags. Both of these we're shooting for around 15 pounds each, and then this one will be as close as we can get it to 50 pounds, 48 pounds or so, all clothing. And this is what primarily we'll use on the cruise, and then whatever we have clean, we'll take out and put in here for the last part of our vacation, and load this up with dirty clothes and have it come back home. So I wanted to make that clear that we weren't going for 2 weeks with just this. So that's the lowdown, and the company we used is Luggage Forward. I think there's a number of them out there to do it, or you can ship it yourself. And we'll see. When I get back and start editing these, I'll let you know how well it worked. So that's it for episode 2, and the next video, unless I hurry up and do the septic tank, which I don't think I will probably be in 2 or 3 weeks, because I'm not planning on doing any editing and uploading while I'm actually on the vacation. So I know you're disappointed, no new material out there, but just keep watching the same 3 stupid things over and over again and drive my viewership up. I'm hoping to top 50. I'm at 49, and 50 would just be beyond anything I've ever dreamed of. All right, that's it. I forgot what name I used, but until next episode.